They said it's done. They were here. They are immunity. Check in Joyce. 2.3.
So,
And then Payroll.
what's your opinion on the whole situation with ACU? Do you think everything's fine and good status and not a problem, or do you think there's continuing issues, or what do you think is going on?
The last time he said was he just want to pay the 8,000 to the workers, and also he said he said something. What is that? What is MMI? I cannot understand.
So
Me,
practice,
myself,
it's
and
me,
I.
myself, I.
That's a word pala. Okay. Me, myself. Ay, hi, ate.
Are you guys getting me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Sorry, my computer was very slow. I think it was my internet. Joyce, did you manage to create note?
Yeah. Wait, I will
Thank
share to
you.
you right now in Jitsi.
Okay, thank you.
Um, I don't know what's
Live streaming is on.
like every time something before we when we met yesterday, right, in Jitsi, you said he fought with the father and everything. So he was in a bad mood maybe that time then.
For sure.
So yeah, so that
Yeah,
that triggered his behavior
yeah.
afterwards. That's what I
So it
understand. And
was
then
very serious. If you could
yeah,
say adios
so
to his
every
father, and
time
then
so every time there's something right
mm,
like that, it's triggering his behavior. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's fine, but it still doesn't change the fact that it would be helpful to know what's going on.
yes.
And so, I mean, I'm still pretty confused, but if you guys both feel okay about everything, then that's fine. It just would be good to understand the current status and
Okay.
in the plan for ACU. ACU is coming up in a couple hours, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think Alberto will not be there also. Only Monday, he said. He's coming.
Yeah, on a Monday.
What does that
It's
mean? Only
better.
Monday.
He's coming
He
on
said he
Monday.
will check in on Monday.
Oh, okay.
He's
All right.
checking in on Monday.
So, if Alberto's not there today, then that definitely makes things simpler for at least today, right?
Mm.
Yes.
But my understanding is like, let's say Alberto came today, we would ask him to go, for example, to a separate ACU channel. I think we have 2 ACU channels at this point, and then either you, Joyce, or you, Ateh, would go there and meet with him. So as long as there's at least 3 people, then it's fine. If there's only 2 people, then you might have to ask someone to leave if Alberto comes. Yeah, if it's just like Joyce and Mamoon, for example,
Mm-mm.
Joyce would work with Alberto, and then Mamoon would need to leave. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So my understanding is that just like when Alberto comes and we're focusing on ACU, that it would just need to be approved workers who have basically VA, who are approved for VA work with Alberto.
Yeah, because he said that only Ted, Joyce, and Jay is the one that he would like
Well,
to work in for AC right now.
for now, yeah, and that can always change, but I just feel like, and again, I want to make sure that the vocabulary is very, very, very clear. And we still don't have good vocabulary with Alberto, but we could at least clarify the vocabulary for us. I feel like the easiest vocabulary would be like, ACU VA sessions with Alberto, right? And then you just have normal general ACU work, general ACU work versus VA ACU work, right? Does that make sense? Like,
Yes.
it's basically working directly with Alberto is a separate level of ACU work. So it's like the correct vocabulary is not like, oh, only Joyce, Ateh, and Jay are allowed to work on ACU. That is not my understanding. My understanding is that anyone can work on ACU. Anyone can come to the ACU buddy team session, get focused on buddy teams, start working on the practice, start working on the events, start working on anything that they know how to do. What is not allowed is the VA ACU work with Alberto.
Yes.
So my understanding is that we need very clear vocabulary so that when we're communicating with the team, they understand that they can come today to ACU, and it's only of issue if Alberto comes and we need to establish VA work within ACU. Alberto, yeah. Which is perfectly fine. I think Alberto's perfectly within his rights, and everything is perfectly fine for him to do that. All I'm asking for is transparency so that we can work with him and make sure we're communicating with everybody who can and can't communicate with him on ACU practice and everything. So it's just like that's all I was asking Alberto for, and it obviously got really bad. And I think he thought I was.
I don't really know at what level everything with him was. I was just confused.
No,
Yeah,
wait, Jake. What did you say? Well, you were asking him.
yeah. I mean, I think the confusion from me came that Alberto thought that I was trying to push new policies on the practice and on within ACU.
Yeah.
But what I was actually doing, I was listening to Alberto basically say policy after policy after policy. I mean, Alberto for me was just giving out all these policies, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? What's going on with all these policies? And so I was trying to repeat the policies back to him, get them clear so that we can move forward. So for me, I was literally just trying to document the policies that Alberto was stating. So if the policy is, okay, no one's allowed to work with Alberto, and you have this VA session or the practice or whatever that need to be approved, and you need an approved person coordinating that, like, then what do we call that? Let's make sure it's transparent. Let's make sure it's clear. That's what I would love to, if there was clarity on the time frame too. Like if it's basically in the moment, seconds to minutes or whatever, then let's just make sure that is clear, that at any moment Alberto can basically change his mind, or maybe it's just for that session, or maybe it's for a day or a week or whatever it is. It would be nice to have some clarity. I don't care what the policy is. I just want to make it documented so that we can act on it. Yeah.
So he thought you were trying to limit his powers.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it was just miscommunication. Like, I feel like he can do whatever he wants to, but there does need to be some type of accountability and oversight in relationship to ACU, right? Because it is a legal organization. It just can't do anything. And then there's also a question of maybe the practice and specifically MMI should actually be separated from ACU, which is also perfectly fine for me. I actually, in some ways, would prefer it, that ACU can present practices, one of them being MMI, but it's not the only one necessarily, right? So, but that MMI in and of itself is a separate thing from ACU. It's more like ACU is showcasing it as its primary focus right now, So in that case, it would be totally separate from ACU. So it's just good to have clarity on these things and make sure we're in alignment on just understanding. Because whatever Alberto wants to do is fine with me. But what I'm not okay with is basically, Alberto has a bad interaction with his family, and then just in that moment, suddenly everything changes and there's no clarity on what the policies even are, because moment to moment, everything's changing. That is not okay with me. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Right. I just want to know what the policies are and know how to interact with Alberto and ACU so that we can be organized and professional and meet our client obligations. Anyways, it'll take time to figure all this out, like to understand the structure, whether or not MMI is separate from ACU and how it's all split up and how everything's done. So for example, let's say MMI is separate from ACU. It infinitely simplifies the insurance problem, right? Because then, for example, for the event, ACU itself would be a co-sponsor in the event, it would be supporting the event, but in and of itself, it wouldn't be directly liable for the event, and MMI would be a separate legal entity. Essence, it would be a separate entity that would be more localized and then could buy its own local insurance in Brazil for just the event, and it would make everything much simpler, right? Then we don't really need to worry about, we could get just general basic liability insurance and not really have to worry about having specific insurance for the event. So these kind of decisions matter a lot. Like, is MMI under ACU? If so, there has to be some type of oversight and legality to what happens, because we can be sued, right? Do you see the difference? Whereas if MMI is separate from ACU, then really Alberto can do whatever he wants, and we can just help him get his own insurance for the event perfectly fine. It'd be much simpler.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Anyways, I think on my side, I definitely pushed too hard with Alberto. Like, I was like, we need to get this all organized and clarified now, but really it's like a much slower process, right? It might take weeks, not months, to get organized. So I should have just been like, hey, Alberto, these are some of the options. This is like where we might go with this in terms of clarifying some of these policies, and then we can deal with it more next week or future weeks and not finalize this now. Like, that was definitely a major mistake on my part.
And he was not in the mood that time.
Yeah, he wasn't in the mood. Exactly. It was like there was no possible way to finalize the clarity at that moment. And so I should have just let go and not really pushed it. But I definitely just do my thing. It's like I hear new things and I document it out and I try to get organization and clarity. I mean, for me, it was just really minor, so obviously it just pushed some of Alberto's buttons and triggered things that I didn't realize at the time. I mean, Ateh was there. She knows, like, I was pretty calm, and just like when Alberto got cut off and we couldn't hear him, me and Ateh were pretty much on the same page on just like, yeah, let's just get some clear vocabulary so that we can move forward and know how to organize around this. But anyway, so for us, does this vocabulary sound good so that we're on the same page? Vocabulary, we have general ACU work. General ACU work, and this would be without Alberto. And then we've got VA ACU work with Alberto. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ateh, are you there?
Sorry, I've been talking. I forgot I was mute. Yes, it makes sense, Jay. But I don't understand why this list Albert wasn't able to give it yesterday, and it was very clear what you were asking from him. Let's just say he was really not in the mood.
Yeah,
He
he was
just
not in the mood.
transferred his aggression from the incident with his father to the level of the work.
I think another vocabulary term. So I think this is a very important vocabulary term for SVG. We have general ACU work, VA ACU work with Alberto. I think another vocabulary term, other vocabulary for communicating and working with Alberto. Obviously, in the context of like, aggressive, getting into attacks and or issues, escalation, contention, all of that. The correct term is vibes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's another level that's totally different, which is like, Alberto's not in the mood, right? Like now is not the right time. Let's just summarize and like, create topic for later at another time. So basically you could think about it like, for example, it could be like the 6D, right? We could say 6D means, okay, Alberto's going into the sixth dimension. Like, now's not the time to go over basic functionality things. Let's let Alberto do his thing, support Alberto, and that might make so like, you know, I'm sitting there trying to work with Alberto to deal with policies and deal with structure, and Ateh is like, Jay, no, 60, you know, like this is not the time for that, right? So maybe we could have a vocabulary term that is has nothing to do with vibes. It's everything's perfectly fine, but it's just like it just makes it clear that to ourselves that as SVG we need to take a step back, let Alberto do his thing, and then we do our thing and support him with it, so that we know there's a right time and a right place for everything, right? So there could basically be a vocabulary for you know, maybe it's like 3D means you know, normal everyday organizing
Good.
structure work, you know, and then 60 means like let's wait, you know, let's wait and focus on love, right? That makes sense?
Yes, Jay.
So I don't know if those are the correct terms, but I feel like they're okay because they're in alignment with the way that Alberto talks. So if we're just like 60, and Alberto's like, what does 60 mean? We're like, well, it means the sixth dimension, of course, Alberto. Yeah. I think he'll feel it's fine. And 3D is the third dimension, which is meaning the normal everyday, you know, life and world that we live in, right? So, you know, I don't know. Does that make sense, Joyce, in terms of the vocabulary?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
My understanding is there is 5 vocabulary terms. There's general ACU work, there's VA ACU work, and so general ACU work is everybody. Everybody. ACU work is a VA ACU work is only Ateh, Joyce, and Jay. And then 6D means like, you know, focus on
Hold on.
and love, you know, and then 3D
Yeah.
means like, you know, let's get into structure, policies, planning, other issues, right? So I think that will really help us a lot in terms of our vocabulary. And working with Alberto in a way, and it's not even just Alberto, like maybe we could apply this to other people too, where things just aren't necessarily grounded in normal 3D functional. And I mean, really, technically, it's not 3D, it's 4D because we have time, right? So there's 3 dimensions plus time. So I don't know if 3D is the right word. Maybe 4D is better to be technical. So I think any of these options are fine. Like you have 3D, you've got 4D, you've got 5D, right? So technically 4D is the correct nomenclature, like scientifically correct with time. So this, but maybe it's like slightly more, you know, theoretical. But then 5D means like, okay, we're getting really close. Like maybe we really should reconsider. And then 60 is like definitely not, right? Cool. All right. So I think that, you know, getting close, maybe step back. So that kind of gives us a little bit more of like a range, you know, 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll see how it goes. If Alberto doesn't like it, we'll just stop and we'll figure out other vocabulary. But I think it's good for us to be able to communicate in a way that is functional for SVG so that we have clear vocabulary on working with Alberto. So if we're on the same page, let's just document this. This would go into the add to the
SVG Mindo. SU Mindo.
No. This goes in the ACU client organizing spreadsheet for SVG. This is SVG vocabulary, not ACU.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, all right. I feel good about ACU. Thank you, Joyce and Ateh, for stepping up and addressing that big star. So I don't know, hour star, because you probably saved 10 hours of time, at least. Star, right?
Okay, Jay. So, Jay, should we add this to the ACU client organization spreadsheet for SVG now, or do we wait and get agreement first?
It's a task.
No, but it is as long as the three of us agree to it and where there's no objections, then it's just vocabulary. It's not really anything. It's not like an official policy. We can always change it,
Yeah,
you know.
okay.
But it's just like between the three of us,
Mm-hmm.
we have some established vocabulary that we can then communicate with the team. Like for example, we already started communicating with Mamoon about the VA ACU work that he is not approved for that, so he should not be communicating with Alberto. But he is
Yeah.
welcome to come to the ACU session. So make sure that everybody's invited to the ACU general work session, right? And I'll let him know that as long as Alberto doesn't come, then it's like perfectly fine. If Alberto does come, then we'll split off a buddy team of VA ACU work, and then either Joyce, myself, or Ateh can join that, and no one else at this time would be doing that until they're approved at a future time. So you're going to send out a message so that everybody knows, and that makes it clear. That's all we need. We just need clarity. We just need everybody to be able to communicate about it in a way that is clear and professional. And so as long as Mamoon understands that he's approved for general ACU work, but not for VA ACU work, then it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna send out I'm gonna send it out and let everyone know that they are invited for the ACU main session on the Friday. But if Alberto shows up, then we are going to break up into body teams, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jay, we don't want to waste your time. Maybe you will have to prepare for your trip. Do you want to
Yeah, let's
go
get
to
into
the?
the payroll stuff. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Um. So topic zero. Okay, you put the topic zero. Okay. Shall we
Okay,
put
one
this
is
topic
topic two
one?
is
Topic wait, topic zero.
okay, this should be zero and then this should be one.
Okay.
Payroll payroll estimation should
Okay.
be one.
Okay.
Review let's
So
say we take
24
six
to
to 20 minutes. Is okay. Mm,
yeah. 4 minutes.
okay. So do we have agreement on this? In addition to the topic?
Any
Then I think we
objection?
should do a view up. A view up, view up. A view up. Joyce, are you facing the tab?
Yeah. Okay. No objection, right? Okay.
No objection. Any objection from your side?
We're focusing. Let me take a look. Hold on one sec. So payroll estimation. Okay, so yeah, let's do it. See where we can get on it. Maybe 12 to 24 minutes.
Okay.
Go to 24 minutes. Go to 24 minutes. 12 to 24. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, copying the topic to the tab.
Okay, let me link.
So really quick before we move on, I want to note that what we just did, the topic 0 on ACU, was
Mm-hmm.
exactly what we call, it's number 73 in our new spreadsheet time tracking, SVG coordination for ACU. That's what we literally just did. So it's basically like ACU preparation time, where we are supporting ACU, but we're not actually working on ACU work, right? So it's not set up for training time, it's like preparation time. But this is what we haven't been doing, and this is really important for the three of us, like me and you, and Joyce, Ateh, all three of us, as well as anyone else who wants to collaborate on it, to have space every single week, even if it's for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, just a small topic on ACU coordination in relationship to SVG, right? Like we need to be clear on our side how we approach ACU before going into ACU. Okay. It's very important.
Yeah.
And so today, if Alberto is not there, you can continue to do more SVG coordination for ACU as needed. Okay, so just remember that that's very important. And so there's three components. There's the overall coordination for SVG for ACU, and then you have the ACU invoicing and the client relations, the client check-ins, which you need to set up. Every 2 weeks, like the proposal is that every 2 weeks we do client check-ins. Oh, and that's the other topic I really want to go over, which is the normal voting. Cool. All right, check. Now I'm ready for payroll estimation.
Okay, Jay. So this is the work we did. I just copy. I linked the note online. The note we had for the session on line 4. I just copied um what we did. We started with the first, which is the baseline for estimation. We we brought out maybe we brought out the pay for 111 East. So the work itself started from step 2 work hours for the month. So we went into each worker's tracking sheet and we brought out the number of hours they worked for the past 4 months, and we realized that
Estimated.
Jay has no, it was not estimation. We went into the tracking sheet. So Jay has 708 hours. Ateh had 409.5, Joyce 409.75, Jennifer 32.75, Alberto 785, Alex 110.70, Mamoon 109.8, Lucy 18.5, and that's the total amount of hours for 36 East, 89 West, 117 East, and 58 West. So now we went to the estimate, and if you see on form line 36, there's the estimation there. We made the total number of hours times the baseline rate per hour, which for J is 5.25, Ate is 2.66, Joyce 2.16, Jennifer 4.5, Alberto 2.34, Alex 5, Mamun 1.8, and Lucy 2.5. So for the 4 months, when we did the 4 months estimate, we realized J is supposed to earn $3,726.03. Ati is supposed to earn 1,089.9. Joyce 883.22. Then Jennifer 147.38. Alberto 1,039.55. Alex 553.5. Mamoon 197.84. And Lucy 46.25. So Alberto said money stop is
32%.
31%. Yeah, 33%, which I even told him was too high, but knowing how Alberto is. So the adjusted estimated amounts for each worker after the deduction of the 33% for the pay stop, the money stop is J 1000s at the end of the day, J 1230.58. Then at the 359 was deducted, Joyce 291, Jennifer 48.63, Alberto 607.05, Alex 185.66, and then Mamoon 65.29, finally Lucy 15.26. So this is the on column H, we have the adjusted estimated amounts that
Yeah,
I
after the
believe,
money stop
yeah,
cuts.
after the 33% cut. So according to payroll criteria for one-time estimation, that's on line 50, we we came down with all the 4 months. Normally we're supposed to have 4 months, this amount on column F, then many money stock, this amount. I just estimated this amount on column H. So at the end of the day, we propose how much each worker believe he would like to have. So we see J, we haven't, yours is not yet in green because you never confirmed. We still have 2,493.45. Ateh is 1,002.33. Joyce is 900.33. Jennifer is 89.74. Abeto 1,212.33. Alex 370.85. Mamun 152.79 and Lucy 150.33. So that's the amount everyone confirmed they would like to have for the 4 months. So it makes a total of 6,389.11. So that's the work we did.
Okay, so overall, I would say, I don't love the proposal. I'm also not against it. So, I think this is workable. We'll see what we can do with it. But I do have a few questions. So my number one question in terms of moving this forward would be, what does this mean in relationship to payroll? So obviously we're only talking about upfront payroll.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So as far as the total hours may be able to be used for, equity payroll, right? So that covers that for the entire time. Then you've got, so we could estimate out equity payroll for each moon month, which is in this line right here. Like basically, we have the total hours, but it also looks like we have the hours per moon month as well, right? Is that correct?
Yes, Jay.
Yeah. So the total hours add up to 2,500 hours. In 36, there's 827 hours, 631, 98, 566, 117, 559, and 58. Cool. So that could be used for equity payroll. Obviously, this only applies to like the actual workers, so we're still missing some of the additional contributors. So we're missing some additional contributors. So we could make sure that, even though we're approving the equity payroll, we're not finalizing it. So then we have base upfront. So base upfront would basically take care of that. So this would be done. Token, base token, we would skip. Then we have bonus upfront. I understand this. So this is where I have questions. Like, would this be done or not? My understanding is this would include the bonus upfront. We're either saying that there's no bonuses, the bonuses are included in there. And then we have bonus token, which we're skipping. And then that would be the status of the payroll. So that's my main question, is just basically understanding the status of the payroll in relationship to the equity payroll. It looks like we're still not completely done. So we're skipping just the component of the contributors. So skipping, missing some other contributors. And then with the base upfront, we would basically be done with that. The token we're skipping. The bonus upfront, I want to clarify and confirm in the proposal that we would be done with it. What?
Bonus upfront, we still need to work on that. Right now, we are focusing just on the base upfront.
Yeah.
This is just the base upfront.
Okay, so that's what I needed confirmation on, and that for me reduces my interest and support. Does that make sense? So basically, we're saying we're going to pay $6,000 out, which is a lot of money at one time. I think overall it doesn't sound too bad for the overall payroll. But then we're saying that we might have to pay a whole bunch more money makes it a little less desirable, right? So for me, I'd rather know the total amount. I mean, if we're going to go to all this trouble to basically end all the payrolls, but then we're not actually ending the payrolls, we're saying, oh, there's still going to be more money. It's like, I would need that very, very clear. So let's say we're creating the proposal. So proposal is pay $6,000 plus dollars, and then pay more later for bonuses eventually, right? So if that's the proposal, my vote is going to be much lower. I don't know, like at best a 5, right? At best a 5, maybe even lower than that. But if the proposal is pay $6,000 plus for both bonus payroll and upfront base payroll, and be completely done and move forward with our upfront pay. If that's the proposal, then I'm much more favorable for it. I'd be much more like getting towards, a 6.5, 7, if not higher, or 7. I mean, which just depends on the details. But the point is that, the proposal itself needs to be very, very clear how it relates to the payroll. And then obviously the skipping of things is going to include, if we get into the details of the proposal, it's going to include policy tracking. So we're definitely doing policy tracking either way. So I would say maybe all the contributors, like 0.5 to 1 hour for skipping the contributors for the equity payroll. Not a huge deal. Base upfront payroll, maybe 0.5 hours for not finalizing the work. But overall, not a big deal. Maybe 2 hours for entirely skipping. Well, actually, we're not actually skipping it. We would, I guess skipping is not the right word here. So for the base token payroll, we wouldn't be skipping it. We would postpone.
Mm-hmm.
That's the correct word. So we don't need to do policy tracking for this because we're saying we still want to do both bonus token, base token payroll and bonus token payroll, and it would still stay on the list. So this would stay on the list of payrolls to complete eventually.
Yes.
Right? So both of these would stay on the list. And then the question is whether or not this one stays on the list in relationship to the bonus upfront. So if this one was not going to stay on the list, in my mind, the bonus upfront payroll is not really, it's not really like, it's a bonus, right? So if we're not doing it, it's almost like we're gifting to the organization. So I don't know. I would say either 0 hours of policy tracking to like 0.5 max. I don't think it needs a lot of policy tracking to skip the bonus payroll because it's not really like bad, right? So, but the key thing is the proposal should be clear. So it looks like policy tracking for, wait. The income, did you guys calculate income?
No.
So that would be for, let's say, 0.5 hours to 1 hour. Let's just do, so 0.5 hours to 1 hour per payroll round. So that would be like 2 hours to 4 hours for income calculations. I think it's also good to note this would be per payroll round, So this would be 2 hours. This would be 2 hours here because there's 4 payroll rounds, right?
Yeah.
So that would give us 6 hours of policy tracking. 6 hours of policy tracking. All right, and then I think for me, it's just like the same policy tracking, either proposal, because I feel like the bonus payroll is sort of irrelevant in relationship to the requirements. But if we added that, it would be like 8 hours, right? But I don't think it's really necessary to add it. So that would be for this. But I think it's actually, for me, a better thing. So I would just keep the policy tracking the same. So it would be basically getting paid the amount that is agreed upon there. And overall, I mean, I'm not too concerned about my pay. I probably would not pay myself that much money. I feel like it's a little bit high. I feel like all of these are a little bit high, but they're not too high. So I think overall, it's like I'm not against it. I definitely feel like mine is too high, but so I probably would just do more like 1900 or something, you know. But anyways, I don't know. I'll figure that out when I get there. I would say okay, let's approve the 2400, but I might only end up paying myself like 1900. And we could definitely should give everyone a chance to reduce their amount. You know, give everyone a chance to reduce their amount. And then the last thing I'll say is like it's very odd that we're using the baseline rate per hour. So this is the top average pay, right? Per hour, right? Top average pay per hour, right? This column E, line 52 through 60, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's very odd that we're using this because payroll is all based on your actual pay and your actual upfront pay and everything. So, but I understand why you're using it, which is because also I always forget to share the screen, which is like so weird when we're doing all our work for the recording. You know? But anyways, I understand why you're using the top average pay because it's just estimating the pay. So this is our normal pay rate after all of the other things. Then it makes sense that this would be, you know, regardless of the total hours, this relates to the total hours. So I understand why you're using it. So it does make sense for the estimate. Cool. So what do we want to do from here? I mean, I guess
So
you know,
let's
in
vote.
terms of my justification understanding here, I mean, the goal is moving forward with payroll. And I feel like if we don't address the bonus upfront payroll, then we're only half moving forward with payroll. We're not actually moving forward with payroll. It's only going to be half of it. So for me, it's kind of like, okay, we can do this time payment and basically make life easier for everybody, way less work. We're skipping tons and tons of stuff, 6 hours of policy tracking. But then if we don't also move forward with the bonus payroll, then we kind of have to redo the entire base payroll anyways, you know, because how are you going to do the bonus payroll without actually redoing the entire base payroll, right?
So, Jay, from what I understand, with this payroll, when we run this amount, we are not going to go back to do the work, the actual work.
Exactly. Yes. So let's make sure that's very clear details. That the goal is to not do the work. That is exactly our goal. We want to move on, do policy tracking, move on, not do the work. So the details are not to do the work, you know, move on and, you know, focus on the future, you know. So that's what the policy tracking is for. And in fact, in relationship to the base token and bonus token payroll, it's possible we might never do that. Like after we get our new system together, the new system, you know, moving forward might be a cutoff date where all payrolls for the token payrolls from before we start the new system would be past payrolls and become basically a separate process. And that because the new payroll model will work so much easier for token payrolls that we just like anything previous we might estimate as well and just not worry about it in relationship to our new system.
Okay, Jay. So for the new payroll system, the start will be 155.
Well,
We will log our 155.
that would be the goal. I like we're sending out like I already sent it to Ateh and Jennifer to start logging their hours. And so I'm going to send that to everybody else as soon as possible, hopefully today. But of course, right now we're focusing on this. And then once everybody logs their hours in it, we'll start doing the final calculations and seeing how it works. I mean, you should be able to see the results in real time. So even if we're not done with the month yet, I mean, we're still in the last week, you'd still be able to see what the totals are for the so far. I mean, it'll basically be real-time payroll tracking, right? That's the goal. It's like if everybody tracks their time every day, we should be able to see the total value and the total payroll that's ready to be paid out based on the work from that day. All right, that's the goal. So I don't know if that's going to work. So everyone still needs to continue to track their hours normally, or estimate their hours as we used to do, because it's possible the new system might not work, or it might take another entire month to figure it all out to get it to work properly, right? So until we've actually verified that it does work, we are going to be cautious, right? But I'm very confident that eventually it will work. Whether it will work, in a week. I mean, this is the goal. Everybody fills out their their tracking spreadsheet. By the end of the day, on the last day of the moon month, right? If everyone just fills in their tracking hours, and then on the new moon, because it's real time, we will already know the exact amounts of the payroll literally on the day of the moon. And so the second day of the month, we could run payroll if everybody confirms that they updated all of their numbers correctly. So that's the goal, right? Is that it's literally that fast and that quick and that easy. But right now, it's just not. That's not going to be the case. It's going to take a lot of time to finish all the calculations, especially with the income and other components. And then it's going to take a lot of time to get the bonus payroll set up. I mean, it could be many, many months before the entire system is fully functional and integrated. Yeah. But the point is that I feel like for equity, base upfront payroll and base token payroll, we should be able to get that done for next month. I mean, for this month, to do the payroll next month. But it probably might be more like mid-month. So instead of like the day after the new moon, it might be another week or two to get it all functional, but I'm not worried about it. I think it should be just fine. Yes.
Probably full moon, maybe.
Yes. And we can use this new template to calculate previous payrolls. But if we do this one-time payout, there's no need to do previous payrolls. You see what I'm saying? Like we wouldn't have to use the new spreadsheet to estimate the previous payrolls, because we would already have paid out payrolls. Yeah.
So no more reconciliation.
Yes, we can definitely do reconciliation. I have no problem with reconciliation. So that's
okay.
detail for both of these. So detail would be we can still do reconciliation as needed for the payroll. So the key thing about reconciliation is that when you're doing reconciliation, you're not actually redoing the payroll. You're not reopening the payroll. You're just estimating the pay, sending out the pay, and then later you might review and see whether or not it's in the right ballpark or if there's things that are missing. But it's possible in the reconciliation you might find that everything's exactly the same and there's no additional pay. And either way, it needs to be agreed to, which is very different than saying, okay, we're going to go back and actually run the payroll now. Before was just an advance, right? It's very different. But yeah, I have no problem with doing a reconciliation and going through, and maybe the new payroll model will work really easily, so it'll be super fast. Like plug everybody's values and numbers into the new spreadsheet, and then just see what it spits out. But it'd probably be better to do that after we get the bonuses set up and or the tokens and everything else set up, because then it will actually complete everything for us instead of just the reconciliation on upfront pay. Yeah.
Okay.
But the bottom line here is this: what do we do about the idea of moving forward with payrolls? What do we want to do? That's for me the main question. Like,
okay, so the idea.
Let's call this option 1. Option 1 does not include bonuses. Option 2 does include bonus payroll. So obviously for me, I'm leaning much more towards option 2. But we can do both options and have everyone vote on both options. I have no problem with that.
So even if we vote for option 2, we will still do reconciliation, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we go through reconciliation and we go through all of the time tracking, we see exactly the values and all that. If we want to spend all of that time, I mean, it's basically doing all of the work, right? That we're not doing now. It could also result in people getting less pay, and then people have to return the money, or we cut funds from their future payroll. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because
So the key thing of a
definitely,
reconciliation is that it goes both directions, right? If reconciliation
Yes.
finds we paid too much, then workers have to refund the money, right? So reconciliation goes both ways. That's what a reconciliation is.
yes.
Yes. So if you find it less, then we have to pay.
Yeah,
Pay.
it would deduct from the next payroll or whatever. Yeah.
Hmm.
But if it finds that we owe more money, then we send more money. But
Yes.
what reconciliation is not is, oh, let's just look for more money. If it's there, then we pay people more money. If it's not there, then we don't. That's not what reconciliation is. Reconciliation goes both ways. And
Yes, of
make
course.
sure that everyone's getting paid the correct amount, whether lower or higher, or whether it's verified to be correct already.
If there will be reconciliation, then I'm equally yes for the 2 because we still have to calculate the base pay and the bonus.
Cool. And so I guess for me, I would definitely like, to give at least 1 to 2 months to complete the new spreadsheet model before reconciliation.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That would be important so that we can move forward, so that people are focusing on the work as opposed to worrying about the payroll in the past.
Yes. Okay then. Number 2. Shall we vote?
Sure, but obviously we can't approve this now. It needs to be approved by the whole team. But what we can do is we can get the proposal set up. We can decide whether we're going to share option 1 and option 2 with the team, or if we just want to focus on option 2, because that's where, if we're all in agreement with option 2, then we just make a good proposal for option 2. We send it out to the team. Everyone can vote on Discord. As soon as it's approved, we basically would move forward with scheduling to run the payroll and then send everybody the money. We'd have to do accounting, make sure that
Yeah.
there's money. And then, in my perspective as treasurer, like, I just don't see any reason this needs to go to the HR board. Like, if we're not paying ourselves any additional money from what we should be getting, it just doesn't seem like it seems like it's all within the budget. I don't see anything here that says that it's external from the budget, which means that everything has already been approved by the HR board in the budget. So I would say, like, if we agree on option 2, we just, get the proposal looking really good, make sure everything's included, make sure it's all laid out professionally, and then we would send it out to the entire team to vote on. If everyone votes on it by 2 p.m. or by Andromeda hour 2, which is in an hour from now, then we could start paying everybody by today. Otherwise, we'd have to wait until like next week.
Okay, Jen.
So what do we think in terms of option 1, option 2? We could either do 2 proposals and send them to the entire team for both option 1 and option 2, or we can just be like, okay, obviously we're going to go with option 2 and then just do the 1 proposal, right? So we're either going to do option 1 and option 2, or we would only do option 2.
Yeah, for me, option 2 only.
Option 2 only. All right. So let's just work on this proposal and see what we can do. Does that sound good, Ateh?
Yes, Jen.
All right. So actually, let's make the line down here. So let's start from the very beginning. Proposal. So the proposal is to approve a one-time estimated payroll for the following moon months. So we need to list the moon months here.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the amount of, right, in the amount of, XXX, and that this would cover all upfront pay for both base and bonus upfront payrolls. All right, and then the details would be 6 hours of policy tracking for skipping other contributors, equity, income estimations, and what was the third one? It was not pausing and not doing the work. Yeah, and skipping the normal practice.
But I cannot edit.
Hmm?
Why I cannot edit the
What?
document. The document.
You are the one who
And
created
then,
it, right?
yeah, why can't I edit it?
I didn't know.
I don't know.
You can't edit.
Yes. What's
Maybe you
wrong?
created with a different email account and you are in the note with a different email
No,
account.
I created with the Middle East, and I'm in the Middle East right now. So
Yeah,
I
you're in the Middle East.
I'm putting
Then
the
maybe it
moon
should be
months.
internet. I'm already put
Okay.
it.
Can you put the moon months please here?
Yes, I already put.
Yeah. Okay. You ready put? Where?
Ah, you can't see everything again. Please undo.
I cannot
Somebody
cancel.
who did that. Okay, let me just do it.
Because I cannot edit even. So.
It's okay, I'm doing it again. Mm, no, don't sleep. No,
In line 97, just continue
wait,
the
let me.
moon months.
Wait, I'm coming.
It's very
Don't sleep.
strange. Really strange.
Be careful. Hmm. It will not be.
Okay, we can still do consideration of the resources.
Mm, mm, mm,
Because
mm.
just make sure everything is paid.
No.
6.
Possible, I'm coming.
36, 98, 117. 6.
Approving this because we have a new payroll model form and we will give 1 to 2 months for the new model to be finalized before using it to go back to auto calculate for reconciliation if we choose to. We can see the reconciliation if we want, but just mirror can result in refunds and returning money as opposed to adding funds for reconciliation. Just make sure the correct amount is paid. Mm-hmm. So,
I really couldn't.
mm-hmm. This approve the one-time estimate payroll for the following in the amount of this will cover all
It's
upfront pay for both base and bonuses upfront payroll.
I was able to write.
Recompensa.
I was taking notes a while ago. Why now I cannot read it?
Maybe the internet, Joyce. Just refresh. Refresh
Yeah, I refresh.
the spreadsheet.
Okay, I refresh the. I refresh also the internet. Okay, I'll come back.
I'm coming.
I think my laptop is. I don't desktop.
We missed the break. Oh, should we just finish the session first?
Jay, would you like to take a break?
I mean, as soon as we're done with this, I think we're done. So let's just go.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway,
I finished.
Okay,
so we'll
so
go to
uh,
6,
Hmm?
8,
Wait now. Wait.
117,
Give me 5
6.
minutes. Almost there.
all right. So I think proposal. I think we are ready, right? So the proposal is to approve one time. So the only thing missing at this point is, oh, whoops, and all of this goes here. There. The only thing missing is the actual data. So what I want for the data is I want basically, I mean, we could just link a spreadsheet maybe. So maybe, link to detailed calculations. So in the spreadsheet, it needs to must include every equity payroll estimation. So all you have to do for that is you take the total hours per moon month that each person had, and you multiply that times their jurisdiction, and then that will give you their equity. Right. So I just want that listed in a spreadsheet. So you just have to, do that for each moon month and have the 4 equity payrolls listed side by side. That should only take what, like 5-10 minutes, right? From there, you would include the overall calculations. Must include the final calculations per person to get to the 6,386. So that would be lines, it's already here, right? Line 52 through 60. Okay. And you could also include the total hours calculation, but that'll basically be in the equity payroll already. All right. So as long as you include all those things, then we are good. And then this is ready to be sent out to vote. But you do need to include the spreadsheet link with all of the details so that we are on the same page. And it would be good to understand what the total equity payroll is for all 4 months. For just the workers, not contributors. And I don't care if you include community equity or not. If you want to include 25% community equity, you can. But it's not necessary for just this one proposal. We'll go back through that later in the future, because we were already doing policy tracking for not including contributors, so that kind of includes community equity. All right. So this would be the equity payroll estimation only for workers. Only for workers. Awesome.
For active workers.
Yeah, for active workers. Yes, for active workers. All right. So, also one last thing I think is extremely important that needs to be added must include Mel and Luisa. I want Mel and Luisa included because we need to pay Mel like $1,000 for Mel. I think it's $1,400 for Mel, and I don't know how much it is for Luisa. I think a couple $100 for Luisa. So I want them.
Yeah, because we already pay her before.
Well, whatever the correct amount is. So there was a reconciliation done for Luisa, and we still owe her more money. So I want that included. Okay.
Okay, so you want these amounts to be included in the proposed amount or a spreadsheet? I don't understand.
I just add them in here. So on line 61, right? I would just add a line for Mel and Louisa, and then whatever the amount is, I'll just put it here in column I.
Mhm.
Okay.
You know, just add Mel and Louisa. I think Mel was like 1,400 something or other, and Louisa was like, I don't know, 159 or something like that. Whatever it was, I just want to make sure that they get paid. We need to pay them. It's part of our agreement that we were going to do it, and so let's just get it done. And then we can do more reconciliation later if needed. I just don't want to forget to pay Mel and Louisa. Like, I don't think it's appropriate for us to pay ourselves without also paying Mel and Louisa because we already agreed to do it, right?
Okay.
Everybody else is pretty minor in terms of the total pay, so I'm not super worried about other people, but obviously we should be paying Eileen, we should be paying like other people. So I don't know why you guys did not include the other workers, like why you only
Mhm.
the current workers. I don't understand that part.
Alberto, what did Alberto say, Ateh?
So maybe we should do more policy tracking, maybe 2 additional hours of policy tracking for not including non-active
The
work.
other.
So 8 hours policy tracking.
Or should we just go ahead and include them?
If you can.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can just estimate. Yeah, very fast. Active workers. I have a problem with that.
Jay, I think we just need to do the 6 hours because we are going to include them definitely.
All right, well then just change it to the 6 hours. But I feel like for Mel, if you just include Mel and Louisa, that's good enough for me because we're actively trying to get them paid and there is an issue with it. And then we can deal with everybody else in the reconciliation or whatever. But overall, I personally would prefer to vote on the final amount for the payroll and then close the payroll and be done with it so that we don't have to worry about it anymore. You know, like for example, option number 3, if we, let's like add some more lines up here.
Just give me 1 minute.
Hmm. I really need to get
I do think there's an option number 3 that needs to be considered, which is basically option 3. So if we understand, okay, proposal to pay, you know, we're talking like almost $8,000 plus, you know, in relationship to all inactive workers as well, right? For upfront base payroll and bonus
bonus.
payroll with no past reconciliation without including the funds in new budgets, right? So basically, option number 3 is saying that so the details would basically be the payroll is complete, that any additional pay would need to be agreed on and the funds would need to come out of the budget so that we can move forward. So for me, it's difficult to budget things when we still don't know all of these past liabilities. So if let's say we did the reconciliation, so details, if we do the reconciliation, that is fine, but would require HR board approval and adding those past funds into the budget more like back pay. So it's like, it's fine to do the reconciliation and see that we need to do more pay, have a justification to turning that back pay into upfront pay. But it's like, where is that money? It's going to be like from like, let's say 5 months from now, we're saying, okay, we want to pay more money from 6 months ago. It's just going to destroy the budget if we don't have clarity. Like, it's a lot of money to pay out all at one time to not know the status of the budget in the future. Does that make sense?
Yes, Jay.
It's concerning to not know the status of our budget in the future. So in order to have a functional budget, have a functional budget is important to move forward. So this would allow reconciliation in theory, but only in regards to back pay being turned into upfront pay as a new HR board approval, right? So just make sure that there's like one additional layer of clarity and approval in that it's included in a new budget. So let's say we go and we find, oh yeah, we want to pay another $5,000. That would just destroy us, but monetarily,
Yeah.
right? And then so it's like, okay, well, we want to pay each other $5,000. That's great, but then we need to cut our budget and actually get agreement from the HR board that that's all perfectly fine to do. So anyways, for me, I think option 2 and option 3 are pretty clear. If you want to also include option 1, we can, so that people understand option 3, but that basically lays it out. Like option 1 is that it does not include the bonus. Option 2 does include the bonus. Both include reconciliation within the
I'll
past.
need a break, please.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Cool. Anyway, so I think this is a really good start in finalizing these proposals. I think we're pretty clear on the proposals, and for this one, I'd be like an 8. You know, I'm like, let's just do it. I mean, I don't know what the total is. I might be a little bit less than an 8 based on the fact if the proposal's like over $8,000, I might be freaking out a little bit. But either way, I think it's going to start activating some cuts. And I do think we also need a deadline, details required to establish a deadline for for-profit automatic budget cuts. So as long as we have the upfront pay stop deadline to do this, I think I'm fine. So upfront pay stop deadline. Okay, that makes sense?
Yeah. So I found this Luis is 247.50 base pay.
All right, I gotta get going, but I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, Jay, so you're not available later, right?
I mean, you can, you know, message me on
Yeah.
Discord and we can figure it out for sure. But I
Yeah.
just, it all just depends. Like I'm on partial leave moving forward for, you know, till the 20th, right? I think it's October 20th. Let me double check
Yes.
when I get off partial leave. So it says I'm off partial leave on, so the last day is the 19th. So on the 20th, I will be back. The 20th, 21st. So Friday, Saturday, October 20th, 21st, I will be back full time. So as far as my partial leave goes, it's just harder to schedule. So I will be available. You can communicate with me on Discord. Anything that's like a quick review, a quick check-in is going to be probably no problem. So basically you guys work on the proposals, you get all the 3 proposals organized, you get the voting form organized, you get it all ready to go, and then you send it to me. That's fine. And we could do a quick review, either async or we could jump on Discord for like 30 minutes. So if it's a quick just review, I have no problem. I don't think it would be difficult. If it's a more longer session that needs more work, like it might be a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Jay.
Yeah, and at this time, I would prefer not to come to ACU in 45 minutes. But if you need me for something, I can definitely jump on, or I could help get things started. I don't know. It just depends on what you all want. It just depends on you and Ateh and how comfortable you are moving forward with everything for ACU.
Okay.
So just let me know. Just like, you know, hit me up on Discord, say, oh, we're perfectly fine. Everything looks good for ACU. Or be like, hey, Jay, it could be good to get a little guidance here on ACU moving forward. But I would prefer certainly not to come. But if you need me, just let me know.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Jay, see you later.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes, yes. Anything else? Okay, Ate, I think I can already edit. Wait, yes. I don't know what happened to the laptop. Oh, well. So I found where is it? Verification. 247.50 for confirming well, zero zero we can do whatever help the semi or design for 247.50 for Luisa. Okay. 247.50 Luisa. 247.50 Luisa. Okay. 750 for Luisa. And then Mel is see Mel. This one. Message link. This one. This one. And then Melissa. Melissa. Co-workers. Melissa. Melissa. My office reviews the reconciliation. Reservations approved. 141. Receipt payments owed. 1231. 1231. 1231. 1231. Review and see if you agree to reconciliation. September. 58, 11, 98, 36. 58, 111, 11, 58, 98, 36. 1481. No, 1231. 1231. 1231. 1231. 1231. Okay. Okay, the Discord, this will be here. Message link. Okay, next. Okay, let's go again. Ganyan, then how much? I-63. I-63, I-63. 63, okay. 7864.62. Okay. 60, 53, 2, 53, 53, 2, 1,000, 1,002, 1,002, 53, 2, to 1, I-63. I-63. Next.